It's Premier League Match Day 1 Picks edition of the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with our code PLGP to claim your first time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code PLGP. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Rhythm's college football and NFL projections are now live. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Welcome, everybody, to the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford, coming to you from Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England. Today is Thursday, August the 15th. We are here to look at week one of the Premier League, starting on Friday night, going right through to Monday night. It's about time. Joining me is Mr. Barry Penaluna. Barry, what's happening? Fucking hell, he's on mute, isn't he? What a shambles of a start.
Hey, week one, here we go. Good evening, Malcolm. How are we? Looking forward to this. We'll edit that little bit out. I'm all good, Malcolm. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. I'm excited. Excited. Premier League week one. It's been a long time coming where we've been fanning on, pretending we're bothered about other stuff. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this, Baz. I can't, like this time tomorrow, going to be sitting right in my corner there watching Man United v Fulham. And I'm excited to get on with all of that. In terms of the show, we will crack on the way we have been. We will pick all the games. We've got couple of new sections, possibly. Trying to float some ideas this week with Barry, but his general apathy towards the whole show has been absolutely overwhelming. I've had nothing back off him. He's just stonewalled everything. So we'll see. Barry might be sitting there on a ton of surprises. It might be like November the 5th when Barry gets going in a minute, but he's keeping it secret from me. What's the matter, Baz?
You're just messaging me when I'm very, very busy with other stuff. And that's why it might come across as apathy, but I just don't have time to respond to you with 24 hours a day. Like I've got other things going on in my life, Malcolm. I'm a busy man.
Well, I'm a busy man. I've been busy trying to keep this show going. I'll tell you what's going on. Andy's in Barbados tonight, which just reminded me, Barry, that our third most downloaded country, I messaged you this yesterday, but another apathetic response. So UK is number one, USA is number two, number three, Barry, Indonesia. Hey, didn't expect that, did we? So, for all our Indonesian listeners out there, hello dan, selamat datang. Been working on me Indonesian. That's hello and welcome in Indonesian. Everybody welcome here. Germany sitting in fourth, Achtung. That's as far as I got, Baz. Oh, we are sweating out the first 3 minutes here of Real Betis against Girona. Put a little play out for over 2.5 goals. And Girona just hit the beans on toast 3 minutes in. Here's the thing, Baz. So, yeah, exciting week. But I have tiptoed into this week in quite good form, Barry, which is not like me. Started on Monday with a builder bet on Luton Burnley. I got my 2-3-5. Let's put them both on the same bet. Hit at 11-2. Hit a builder bet on Tuesday. Sheffield United, Wrexham in the cup. I sent you that one. That was losing until there was a big scrap in the goal. After Wrexham got their second goal, they tried to get the ball out the net, and then everyone got booked. So that was funny. Enjoyed that. Middlesbrough Leeds in the League Cup last night. The YouTube short was Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough on the double chance. I should have taken them outright, but that's it as well. Callum hopped in the baseball chat last night, reminded me I picked MK Dons. Walker is absolutely delighted that I've single-handedly got Watford off to a winning start. Because I picked Millwall on Saturday when Watford won, and then I picked MK Dons and Watford beat them 5-0. But that we didn't do any research there. We just looked up and down the list, Baz. So, being very selective and picking my way through the week, Baz, got myself in a good position to fire a few shots this weekend. You? Oh, it's got it. Real Betis have just scored after 4 minutes. Here we go, Baz. Sorry, good.
Yeah, he's been in good form. I was at the cricket last night. Done all right on the cricket, as it happens. Went to watch the old 100. Cricket purists don't like that, do they? All these multicoloured uniforms and all that. But I enjoyed it. It was good night at the cricket. Chased down a big score, did the Trent Rockets. So good night, done all right, and done okay on your picks as well, which was good. But yeah, definitely ready to fire into this stuff. Getting a little bit tentative, lacking form, so haven't been overly ambitious in my picks, I would say. Nothing really too rogue this week, but give it a couple of weeks and we'll start going a bit wild.
Manuel Pellegrini just came on the telly there, Baz. He's the Betis manager. Do you remember when Alan Pardew called him an old cunt on the sideline for Man City? That was funny. I enjoyed that. Well done, Alan. No, I looked at this game, these games. It's taken me about 3 nights, Baz, to handicap these because I just thought, oh, dead excited. I'll open the page and I instinctively will have a few picks. You normally instinctively get 4 or 5 and then you have to work on 4 or 5. And I just didn't, Baz. I just thought it was hard. And I've ended up taking 4 or 5 picks based on the data, based on the numbers, and not on my instinct. And I've surprised myself with a few of the places I've ended up at. As per usual, I've got no idea what you've picked. You've got no idea what I've picked. One thing I'm going to track this year, Baz, we don't track stuff. We're gamblers. No one bothers. I'm going to track how we do on every team, Barry. So, like last year, for example, I think I was quite good at Wolves, and you know you were terrible at Wolves. I was terrible at Newcastle. So I'm going to keep a running tally on how we do on each team. I don't know why, but I've got a new jotter, and I've already made a little chart there to keep tabs on that. I'll probably not bother after the second week. You know how it is. But yeah, plenty to get stuck in it. And like I say, a couple of not new features, but we've dressed stuff up a little bit differently. I've got a new feature later on that we'll get to. Let's say hello to, in reverse order, Courtney and Patrick. How you doing? They want the Man United over on the points. That's your first loser of the season. Pete's picks. Dan, like I saw, Dan is in Barbados. Dan with Andy Williams. Lee, Jurgen Klopp, great name. Michael Roberts is there as well. Hello, everybody. Cree was in early on. About an hour before the show started, Cree was here, sitting patiently. So if you are lurking and you've got anything to tell us, by all means, shout up in the chat. I can close that box with me Indonesian translator. I don't need that anymore. Before we move on, the network launched the 32 NFL team previews. They're giving out a $500 circa future for the listeners. Plus, the EPL returns this week. So don't check out. I'm not reading that. I'll read the next line. That's a load of shit. The Premier League gambling podcast. Get your footy fix there. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and in the SGPN app. Probably get fired for that, Baz. I'll say it was your idea. Right, let's go. This time tomorrow, it will be half time. It'll be nearly half time in the 8 o'clock kickoff, which is Manchester United versus Fulham. Man United are 11-20, minus 181. The draw is 16-5, plus 320. We've got our first line movement report of the season, Barry. And I capped this, I think, on Monday night. Fulham were 5-1. Fulham are now 17-4, plus 425. So Fulham have been nipped in 3/4 of a point already in this one. So somebody doesn't want Man United. My immediate instinct, which is where we start, is that I can't bet Man United. I couldn't justify these odds on last year's form, the 11-20. You just can't. Will there be any better? Question mark. I don't know. I don't know if the new signings are going to play. Oh, fucking twisty face Ten Hag today in his press conference. Did you hear him say, we're not ready for the start of the
Not
season.
ready. For all the
If you're
same
not,
reasons that everybody else has got as
just
well,
fucking
isn't
lie
it?
about it, though. Just sit there and say something fun. Just, what's Kevin Keegan? Why did all the stupid Geordies love Kevin Keegan? Because he would sit there and say, yeah, we're going to win 14-0. And we'd go, hey. Just sit there and say that. Boring twat, honestly. I'm not buying it at all. They won 10 of the 19 home games last season. They only covered the handicap 3 times. So if you won Man United, you can't back them at 11 to 20. You certainly can't back them on the handicap. I think Fulham will be fine. Polinia here is the huge loss for them, really. But Emile Smith will come in and do well. Fulham only won 4 away games last year, which was a bit of a problem. They did win this one. They won at Old Trafford 2-1. So this was the first game I looked at. Obviously, immediately spotted the over 2.5 goals was really short, 1-2. 13-8 it is for the over. Both teams to scores 4-7 minus 175. That's short. Man U lost its home last season, Barry, to 10th place Crystal Palace, 11th place Brighton, 12th place Bournemouth, 13th place Fulham. That's the globe. That's 4 games. That's where Fulham are. And genuinely, this isn't just a stupid bet. I can only take Fulham, Baz. I got them down at 5-1. I'll have to shop around because they're 17-4. I think they're 4-1 with Sky Bet. So maybe there's a 92 somewhere. But if you backed the away team in 4 or 5 similar fixtures here, you're going to get 1 or 2 wins. So the 5-1's the right play, Baz. I'll take Fulham.
Now, you say I wasn't bold enough to do it, but I mean, I agree with a lot of what you say about sort of still wanting to avoid Man United. Yeah, I saw the Ten Hag stuff, and it was just like what he was saying they're not ready for is because they've had players at the Euros and they've signed some new players who they've got to integrate in the team. It's the same for every single team. Everyone's in the same boat. It's just a rubbish excuse. There is a lot more positivity amongst Man United fans, it would seem, certainly on Twitter. I don't know if that's a fair representation of Man United fan base as a whole, but quite a bit of transfer activity, obviously recently being the catalyst for that with Mazraoui, De Ligt coming in. Fulham, on the other hand, you've mentioned Polinia's gone. Adarabioyo is the other one. A couple of big departures for them. But Smith Rowe, the one being, the one they need to come in, hit the ground running, really. You've also brought back Sessegnon from Spurs. We're hoping to get him back to form. Historically, they don't have a very good record in this head-to-head against Man United. Obviously, you mentioned they beat them last year at Old Trafford. That was their first win against Man United since 2003. So they don't have a good record in head-to-heads. I mean, my first thing was, I was thinking, if this was the back end of last season, I'd have been all over Fulham at this price.
Yeah.
And that I almost went that way for that reason. But I just think it's first week of the season. Just want to be a little bit more tentative, wanting to see a bit of Man United and whether they do look any better this year. One thing's for sure, as I say, I want to see more of Man United before I consider taking them at 4-7. So I didn't really want to take a side here. I do think Fulham will get on the score sheet. 4 of the last 5 head-to-heads have seen both teams to score. I think we'll probably see a winner one way or another. You might get your win 2-1 either side. But I think 3 of the last 5 games finished 2-1. I think we might see something similar. Start off here with both teams to score and over 2.5 goals at 5-6.
All right, I'm going to have to remember to write yours down as well. BTTS plus 2.5. Baz, write that down. Couple of players in the chat that I really like. Michael is great with his stats. Bruno is probably going to play up front and takes everything. He's right. Over 1.5 shots on target, 7-4, or anytime goal scorer. And if you remember, Manchester United conceded over 2 million shots last season, which was a record. Muniz shot on target for 9-4 for 2, 8-1 for 3 shots on target. Because it was a thing. It was absolutely a thing that they conceded goals for fun last year. And Frank Gallagher has just joined us. Francis, good evening. How are you? Second game on the cards. We move across to Saturday lunchtime. Nice early kick-off for Liverpool. 12:30, which is the 7:30 Eastern, between Ipswich Town and Liverpool. Ipswich have drifted. Oh, really have drifted. We're 6-1 and they're out to 7.5-1 plus 750. The draw is 9-2. Liverpool are 9-25, minus 277, Baz.
Yeah, tough start for Ipswich. Liverpool this week, Man City next up as well. Back-to-back tough games for them to kick off the season. Not ideal. So can Kieran McKenna mastermind the dream start here with a win over Liverpool? Well, the bookies don't think so. What we got, Ipswich as big as 8-1 in some places for Ipswich. And I've struggled to make a case here so early in the season with Ipswich, even at 8-1. It's one way I would like to take them on. And as I say, there'd be phases in last season where I might have taken them at this sort of price against Liverpool when Liverpool weren't at the best. Early in the season, I just wasn't bold enough to take any of these underdogs. Liverpool haven't done much of note in the transfer market. No one coming in, a few little outgoings, but they've looked okay in pre-season. Beat Man United, beat Arsenal, Sevilla, and they're coming into it with pretty much a fully fit squad for the first time in a while. But then where do you go with it? Liverpool at 1-3. The handicap's too short, even to take them to win by a couple of quite a short price. I didn't really want the handicap anyway, because I do think Ipswich can get a goal here. Liverpool weren't very good for clean sheets last season. So I think Ipswich could possibly get on the score sheet. I do think Liverpool will come out a winner though. So then it's trying to find that bet. And where I've went is for Liverpool goals. I'm going for Liverpool to score in both halves. They finished last season in good scoring form and have been good in front of goal in pre-season. As I say, they've got all of that attacking assets back. So I think Liverpool will win this. I think they'll probably win it reasonably comfortably. Liverpool to score in both halves at 4-5 will be my pick, yeah.
Nice. I'm in that market later on, Baz, because it's the one that treated us well at the back end of last season. Something we're cutting on to. Looks like Ipswich are going to pick up Calvin Phillips on loan from Manchester City to mooch about the middle of the park. They were great at home last year, Ipswich. Won 16, drew 6, only lost 1 of their championship home games. 2.57 goals per game at home. The game totals actually were a kick in the arse off 4, 3.96 average goals per game. And the books expect goals here. The over 2.5 is minus 227, 11-25. Both teams to score 7-10, minus 142. Now, Liverpool weren't great away last year, but you can't hold it against them in this position. They only got 9 wins away from home, but 8 of them came against the bottom 11 teams. So they were the games that were capable of winning games like this one. This is the first one, Barry, where I am going to make a pick based on the data rather than what I thought instinctively might happen. Liverpool away against the bottom 4 last season, Barry. Nottingham Forest 1-0 when the referee gave them that shitey drop ball and they won in the last second. Luton 1-1. Burnley won 2-0. Sheffield United won 2-0. That's 4 games, bottom 4, all under 2.5 goals, Baz. 7-4, plus 175. I'm a stat man, Barry. Cold, hard data over here. No emotion. I've slowed my heartbeat down to 8 beats per minute, and I'm taking the under 2.5. It's 7-4, plus 175. Next game after, we talk about underdog fantasy. Win 325 times your entry by going 8-0, or play fantasy football the right way with Best Ball Mania. $15 million in prizes there. And Underdog just launched their season-long college football projections, higher and lower for your favourite college football players. Use specials and boosts on all your flexed entries. Use our promo code PLGP to claim a special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code PLGP. Game number 3. We're into the Saturday 3 o'clocks here, which there are 1, 2, 3, 4 to get on your coupon. Arsenal taking on Wolverhampton Wanderers. Arsenal are 1-5, minus 500. The draw is 13-2, plus 650. Wolves were 14-1. Are now 11-1. So I don't know who's backing Wolves, but someone's having a little pop. Change this banner there. Oh, he's got a score there. He's gone clean through and not scored for Betis. Arsenal are primed for a title bid again. Calafiori, the only signing. talk about Mikel Merino coming in as well, possibly. Not many new faces. Good at home last year. Won 15 of 19 at home. Covered the handicap in 9 of those. Wolves will be okay. I think Wolves will be fine, but this is a tough start for them, undeniably. They did struggle on the road v the top teams. They lost 8 against the top 10, 5 of them on the handicap. But Arsenal struggled to put mid-table teams away. They beat them. They struggled to put them away. So against the teams that finished 13th to 18th last year, you had a 2-2 draw, which I believe was Fulham. But they had 4-2-1 wins. So they didn't cover the handicap in any of those, Baz, including one of those against Wolves, which finished 2-1. I messaged you about the Asian handicap in fact, about 8 nights in a row. I keep making you. I don't understand anything, frankly. Wolves +2 is the answer, Baz. It's 6-7, -116. So if Arsenal win by 2, we'll get a push. But if Wolves cover, if Wolves win, draw, or lose by 1, and there's plenty data for that, we'll get paid out here at 6-7, -116, Baz.
Yeah, so this is a difficult one here because Arsenal won 5 favourites and no real argument with the pricing. I think it's probably a fair price for Arsenal at home against the Wolves side, who are short of their best player. I think Wolves, similar to Fulham, coming into the season without 2 big players. They've lost Neto, they've lost Kilman. I haven't really replaced them other than a couple of young signings coming in. I think Neto in particular will be a big miss, though I would say they sort of managed well enough without him at times last year when he was injured. But still, it's a big loss to the squad. The squad does look weaker as a result. So I don't really want anything to do with Wolves here, even at, what are they, 11-1 or something. For me, it's Arsenal. Arsenal's defence was the best in the league last season. More clean sheets than any other team. They finished last season with 7 clean sheets in their last 9 games, including an away win against Wolves. Clean sheet there. I expect Arsenal to be strong defensively again. And a win to 0 here is going to be my pick. So you can still cash yours if they go and nick a 1-0. Wolves aren't going to score. Arsenal will win it. Arsenal win to 0 at 5-6 will be my pick.
Arsenal win to 0. Write that down. Win to 0. I will stop reading out what I'm writing down in a minute. It's to remind myself more than anything. Captain Insano's here. Captain, aye. How you doing? And Stars for you. Stars with an X. Welcome. New name to us, by all means.
Is that not one of your family, Malcolm, judging by the last message?
No, I don't know what that means. It's nothing to do with me.
It's one of your children asking for the car key.
No, I believe.
Oh, it's mine. It's one of my.
It's one of yours.
Yes. You're going to have to talk. I don't know who it is, but there's people in the hallway who want the car key from me.
Fucking hell. So I think it's a new listener. You accuse me of it being one of my children, and it's actually one of your children. This is great.
I have no idea who it is, but I'm going to have to go and find the key. So I'll leave you
go
to
and find
talk
the
about
car key. I'll do this one, Baz. 3 o'clock kickoff. What a shambles. Everton taking on Brighton. Everton are 13-8, +162. The draw 23-10, +230. Brighton are 13-8, +162. So this is a match on the books. 13-8, each of 2. Love that. The books can't split them. Brighton signed loads of players. They all play in the same position. Like they're talking about Rutter today from Leeds, another sort of inside left, gazillions of them. Everton won 8 home games last season. Now even this, here he comes. 8 home wins for Everton last season, Barry. How many goals did they concede in those 8 home wins?
Everton, 8 home wins, conceded 2.
They conceded none, Barry. All 8 wins to 0. That's good, isn't it?
That is good, yeah.
Yeah. They kept 9 home clean sheets. And they only conceded once 5 times, including a 1-1 draw at home here to Brighton. Brighton really was a tale of 2 halves last year. it was a nonsense because 16 consecutive both teams to score at the start of the season. It was just a system play, wasn't it? But then they totally flipped, finished the opposite. Only 4 of the last 12 finished with BTTS, and 6 of those were under 2.5. So I don't really know what to expect from either. This is 2 teams that I want to watch a little bit because we just don't know how bad Everton are going to be and how good Brighton could be. But the under 2.5 goals is evens, Baz. Everton have great at this at home, and we don't quite know what to expect from Brighton. It's even money. There's lots of data for it, lots and lots of data. Everything I've just effectively explained. Under 2.5 is even money, Baz.
Yeah, you've just put lots of data out there for why my pick can't possibly win, which isn't ideal. And I'm sitting here pondering, but I'm not going to change my message here. I'm going with where I'm going. I think this was the first game where I looked at it and thought, oh, this looks a bit better. We haven't got an odds-on favourite. Match here, 13-8 each. When I looked this afternoon, which makes it a bit easier, thought, just look at it. Who do you favour? Pick your side. And for me, I found it quite easy to side with Brighton here in a one where they're closely matched in the books. I just feel they've done a better business over the summer. They lost Pascal Gross and Undav, but some good, exciting talents coming in with Minter, Gruder. They're still looking like they're going to be busy in the market after Rutter now from Leeds. For Everton, Onana, I think, will be one they'll feel this season. Be interesting to know what Michael thinks in the chat about Onana and whether they're going to miss him as much as I feel they might do. I think all they've brought in is Ndai was the only one of any note coming in from Marseille. That doesn't change much for me. The other thing that pushes me towards Brighton as well here is the pre-season form. And I don't want to give too much sort of credence to some of these friendlies. Brighton have won every game, scoring plenty in the process. Not the strongest of opposition, but the same can be said of who Everton played in the pre-season, and they haven't done much either. They did beat Preston, but they failed to beat Roma, Coventry, Salford, Sligo in their pre-season. As I say, they are friendlies. It's not the end of the world. But it just comes down to me. I thought, which squad do I think is better coming into it? Brighton. Who do I think will go better this season? Brighton. So at a match, I'll take Brighton over Everton here. And yeah, you talk me out of a bit when you talk about Everton's good form defensively. But no, I'm sticking with Brighton at 13-8. And I did like the look of Brighton to get a couple of goals because they have been full of goals. So I'm going to, Brighton 2 or more is 6-5. But I'm sticking with Brighton to win the game at 13-8.
I mean, you're saying it might sound a bit unhelpful, Baz, but effectively what we've demonstrated there is the 2 different ways to handicap the game. Because instinct, what you've done, and I would think the same. I would just have a little look. See, I fancy Brighton. Or you look at the numbers, and that the numbers gave me that Ipswich Liverpool pick. The numbers gave me that Arsenal Wolves pick, and they're giving me that. And we're just 2 different ways. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would say a lot of this, because we're in week 1, a lot of this is me purely going off instinct and who do I fancy a bit more, and how do I find a bet out of it, as you say, as we go through the season and have some recent form, then that changes a bit for me. But
okay, next is I'm going to talk about Rhythm football season here. The college football and NFL models are now live on Rhythm. Create your own winning betting model, or let Rhythm do the heavy lifting for you. You decide what matters most, and Rhythm builds a custom model around that. Rhythm uses AI projections. The predictive models are great, and Rhythm have got you covered for NFL Week 1 and college football Week 0. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. And the Circa Survivor and Circa Millions are back with $16 million in guaranteed prizes. Get yourself out over the weekend, 22nd to the 24th. Your hotel room at Circa, you can save 15% with the code SGP15. And if you want to play in the contests, sign up in person and then use our proxy to play. We got $50 off the proxy with the promo code SGP. That is proxy.footballcontest.com. Next up on Saturday is a game I will not be at. I'll tell you why in a minute. What a fiasco. Newcastle take on Southampton. Newcastle are 9-25, round about minus 333. The draw 17-4, plus 425. Southampton are 15-2, plus 750. Southampton drifted half a point. Absolutely sod. So I've got a job. I'm going to job is at Knaresborough Town Football Club, of all places. But in the afternoon, instead of going to watch Newcastle United, I'm going to Harrogate Railway, Baz. That's where I'll be on Saturday afternoon. Harrogate Railway. Right, the order's cocked up, Baz, so you can lead us off. Newcastle v Southampton.
Yeah, the one we're all waiting for. The big one, the big 3 p.m. Saturday afternoon. I'll be on the sofa on the dodgy Fire Stick. No, I haven't got a dodgy Fire Stick. Who said that? But I will be definitely getting involved in this one. Starting off with the home game, Newcastle, 4th successive season. They did win the last 2. Scintillating last year, weren't they? In that 5-1 win over Villa on the first day of the season.
Alex Ferguson didn't think so.
He didn't know. The omens are good for this one. We've got a really strong record over Southampton in recent times, particularly at home. There used to be a bit of a bogey team for us, didn't it? Back in the days of Letizia, we could never beat Southampton. Unbeaten in the last 8 home games versus Southampton, Newcastle are, and they've won 6 of the last 7. We played them 3 times last time Southampton were up, because we played them in a semi-final of the Carabao Cup as well. We played them 4 times because it was a 2-leg situation. Home form for Newcastle last year was rock solid. All of our problems were away from home. The home form table, Newcastle finished 4th in the league. And not many teams come away from St James's with anything other than Man City, Liverpool, who you probably expect anyway, and Forest in that horrible one back in December. I think Newcastle will get things off to a winning start here. I think it could be a comfortable one, but once again, a short price here makes it a bit more difficult. So I've got a little bit boring, really, but it's something I do like. It's Isak to get on a score sheet. If Newcastle do go well here and do get a few goals, Isak's going to get one of them. He's 5-6. It's almost a coin toss, and Isak's scoring more than one every 2 games if he's playing Southampton at home every week. So I'm going to take Isak to get on the score sheet as my main pick at 5-6, and I also like Isak to get 2 or more here. 4-1 for Isak to get 2 or more. Someone put it in the chat a little bit earlier. I think it was, in fact, Lee's put it in again. Lee likes that as well. He beat me to it, but yeah, I've had that on my card as well. Isak 2 or more at 4-1. Isak to score at 5-6.
I've got the same handicap, Baz. We were great at home last year. We beat 7 of the top 10 at St James's Park. The couple of the promo teams who came up, we scored 4 against Luton. We scored 5 against Sheffield United. This is one of those games we talk about where I'm perfectly happy with the handicap, but what's the right pick? You've gone, Isaac. Newcastle to win the first half is a nice play, 4-5. Over 1.5 first half goals, because I'm very good at getting out the traps. That's even money. The one I've gone for is Newcastle half-time, full-time. It's a little bit below even money. It's 19-20. It's minus 105. So I think Newcastle half-time, full-time will get us over the line in that one. Next up, this is the final 3 o'clock, is it? On Saturday. Yeah, Nottingham Forest taking on Bournemouth. Forest 7-5 plus 140. The draw 5-2 plus 250. Bournemouth 15-8 plus 187. Huge transfer news coming out for Bournemouth today. Evan Nielsen for £40 million. That is a proper bit of business. Get him on your radar, people. Maybe before the books notice or adjust, or they might be one step ahead. That is their job after all. But this is a lad who's a regular for Brazil. Just played in the Copa America. Regular goal scorer for Porto. And a regular Champions League goal scorer as well. 4 and 5 last year in the Champions League. 40 million quid. I'll tell you what, unbelievable bit of business that. Interesting to see how he gets on. Forest only picked up 36 points last year. 9 wins, 9 draws, 20 defeats. and they failed to win 5 at home against 5 of the other 6 teams who finished in the bottom 7. They beat Sheffield United. That was their only home win. So it's hard to trust them here. It's hard to want to take them, especially as Bournemouth were very good. Bournemouth had 3 points from 9 games before October the 28th. If you extrapolate out the points per game they took from the rest of the season, they'd have finished in 6th. They'd have finished above Newcastle and Man United. They've lost Solanke, but like I say, I love who they've replaced him with today, Evan Nielsen. If this game had been played at the back end of last season, Bournemouth would be about 11 to 10. I think they're a great price here. I'm going to take Bournemouth 15 to 8 plus 187. But
yeah, I get your point. I think about last season we would have definitely taken Bournemouth in this spot. One thing I agree. I think Evan Nielsen, great sign. Just whether it's a little bit too soon for him to feature in this one. I'm not sure whether he'd start or might come off the bench or something. And as you say, if not, then they have just lost Solanke. Bournemouth 16 points above Forest last season. They did tail off massively in the running though. Lost their last 3 games and won only 2 of the last 8. Forest weren't much better. Finished the season with only 3 wins in their last 12. And Forest have done a little bit of wheeling and dealing in the transfer market, mainly to avoid FFP issues, doing little dodgy deals with Newcastle, selling a £5 million keeper for £20 million and paying £20 million extra for Elliot Anderson, all a little bit dodgy, but there you go. Nothing much in the sort of transfer action that would move the needle on what I expect from them this year. I think Forest will be okay this year, but I'm just not sure how much further up the table they'll advance. But I did find this a tricky one. I found it difficult to make a strong case for either side early in the season here, and not knowing who's going to start up front for Bournemouth. So I went towards the goals. Forest never keep clean sheets. They didn't have a clean sheet in the last 13 games last season. But at home, I'd back them to get on a score sheet in these sort of games. I mean, you've, again, looked at more data and said why they don't often do very well in these games. But I think they'll score. Both teams to score and over 2.5 goals again for me here. So again, it's one way we can both cash. I think Bournemouth will need a couple to beat Forest. Pick for me, both to score and over 2.5 goals at evens.
Saturday tea time, the telly game is West Ham United against Aston Villa. West Ham are 6-4 plus 150. The draw 13-5 plus 260. Villa 17-10 plus 170. Close on the books, Baz. Really good looking game, this.
Yeah, close. And I was a bit torn on this one because I do like the business West Ham have done, and I'd like to have had them on side this week against a lot of teams. Todibo, is it they've signed this week on loan from Nice? Nice pick up there to go with Kilman. Wan-Bissaka's really strengthened at the back, but then at the other end, Somerville, Fulkrug, Guillemé, however you want to say that, you can pronounce that one, but bolstering the ranks at the other end of the pitch. I think West Ham will go well this season. I think West Ham could be a bit of a surprise package. I actually looked at West Ham this afternoon on the handicap, thought about them as my potential handicap pick if I was going to take one. I think West Ham are getting 34 points on the handicap.
You fucking hate that market. You're not allowed.
But I did say I would find one just because you do one every year. Funnily enough, I was speaking to someone at football the other day, one of the coaches who works with me on a Tuesday night, is a Forest fan. He loves Forest on the handicap. I think they get 45 points. Yeah, they're going to have to improve a little bit. Although I suppose they did lose a few points. I was looking at everyone today and how many points they got last year and whether the handicap gets them close to the 90 points we thought would be needed. Forest, possibly wasn't factoring in their deduction last year. But anyway, I think West Ham will go well. But with Villa having finished top 4 last season, they've added Onana, Maatsen. I expected West Ham to be a bit of a bigger price. I still thought Villa would be favourites here. And if West Ham were a bit bigger, I might have been tempted. So then I started looking at Villa. I think if that's the case, or Villa the value. The question mark over Villa here is Watkins' fitness. He hasn't played a single minute in pre-season. since coming back from the Euros. So there is a question mark over whether he starts. I think Morgan Rogers has been starting through the middle for them. I got to the point where I couldn't split them, pretty much like the boogies. I couldn't make a case for either, so I've gone for the draw. The last two head-to-heads at the London Stadium have finished a draw as well, and they both finished 1-1. So I'm going to take the draw between West Ham and Villa at 13-5, and a little sprinkle on the 1-1 draw at 7-1.
Okay, nice that, Baz. Draw. Yeah, this is. I mean, West Ham possibly won the transfer window. The other way, there's always one team who claim they've won the transfer window, and it absolutely bites them on the arse. So that remains to be seen, and it remains to be seen if Lopetegui can get them going as well. The manager who didn't pull up many trees with Wolves. Villa will be excited for their Champions League campaign. They definitely weren't as good away from home last year. 8 wins and 4 draws, 7 defeats. This just looked like goals, Baz. Looks like goals. It looks like your classic, both teams to score over 2.5. But that's a little bit short. And it's backable. It's 3-4. It's minus 133. West Ham at home last year, total goals averaging 3.1. Villa away from home, total goals 3.21. So both above 3. So I'm going to take a little punt, Baz, on over 3 on the handicap. So we'll get our money back if it lands on 3. This was another one of the reasons I was messaging you this week. I was like, Buzz, what happens in this situation? Over 3 on the goal line. Because, yeah, it's definitely it's going to be 2-1 up with 15 minutes left. We'll then be sweating out. Can we get the 4th goal? Or is it just going to be a push? But, yeah, over 3 for me. Next up is, this game is wide open, this Betis Girona. It's still 1-0, but it's like a basketball match. Sunday, Super Sunday, really, 2 o'clock. What time's that? 9 a.m. It's Brentford against Crystal Palace. Brentford 13-9, plus 145. The draw is 12-5, plus 240. Palace 15-8, plus 187. Brentford really weren't very good last year. 39 points isn't very many. Only 5 home wins, and 4 of them were against the bottom 4. Palace finished really, really well, which has led to kind of high hopes from this season. But they've lost Elise. Mateta, who's still playing in the Olympics last Friday, so he'll either want a little rest or does he just keep firing up? And I had a look at the hot run that Palace had. They got in some really good situations. They beat Man United when Man United couldn't win an argument. Casemiro was playing like you at the back. They beat Villa on the final day, who were all drunk from Champions League qualification. They got a really soft run, as well as they played. I'm not taking that away from them, but I think it was just a little bit false. This just looks like a draw. We kept doing this last year with certain teams. Brentford, Palace, Wolves were another one. When they play each other, it's a draw, Baz. 12-5, plus 240. And, Barry, first time this season, it is the 1-1 draw of the week.
It's Malcolm's 1-1 draw of the week. Both teams scored a goal.
That's nice to hear. Pat again. Hello, Pat. How you doing? Yeah, draw 1-1 is 6-1, Baz.
Yeah, I don't mind the both teams to score a goal bit, but unfortunately for you, I think one of them's going to win it, and I know who it is. The both teams to score looks good, certainly on the pre-season form. Neither of them have kept a clean sheet in pre-season, so both teams to score have come in every game, I think, for both of them. Brentford, pretty much as they were in terms of squad. Tony remains for now. We'll see how long that lasts. I think the only one they've lost is Mopé, who was on loan. They've added a couple of players. Carvalho from Liverpool, remains to be seen if they can get a tune out of him. Looked decent for Fulham a while ago. But they didn't finish. You said they weren't very good last year. They didn't finish the season very strongly. 1 win in the last 4. Palace, on the other hand, finished really strong. 7 games unbeaten at the end of the season. 6 wins from those 7. That's a little bit more than just luck, I think, Malcolm. I think you're a little bit harsh on them.
I didn't say it was just luck, did I? I just said they got themselves in some great positions. Anybody would have beat Man United that night, and anybody would have hammered Villa that day.
Fair enough. I think they've continued to look okay in pre-season. From what I've seen, they've no defeats in 5. We've mentioned they've lost Elise, but for now they've still held Eze and Gehi, who remains to be seen whether that's the case in a couple of weeks' time. The problem for me with Brentford is they never beat Palace. They haven't done so in 10 years. They've got a terrible head-to-head record. And I just think of the prices, just based on those, the strong finish for Palace and a good pre-season form. I think 19 to 10 looks a good price here. But I like the goals as well, which again doesn't help your 1-1 of the week. I like the over 2.5 at 4 to 5, basically because neither team are keeping clean sheets. I'm going to go with the underdog, though. It's Palace for me. Palace to win this one at 19 to 10. I just think they're going to be a better side. For now, we'll see what they do for the rest of the window because there is still a risk they might lose 1 or 2 more players. But I think Palace at 19 to 10 to beat Brentford is a good enough price for me here.
The penultimate game on the show this evening is a 4:30 kickoff on Sunday. Game of the week, ? Chelsea taking on Manchester City. Chelsea 16 to 5 plus 320. Draw 29 to 10 plus 290. Man City 4 to 5 minus 125. Barry?
Yeah, so this one was a bit more straightforward for me. I mean, it's another one where I'm going purely off instinct rather than any kind of stat. And I just think with Chelsea, it's pretty much all you can do. I really don't know what to make of Chelsea yet. Could be brilliant, could be stinking. It's like you said with Man United, we don't know. I want to fade them until the form tells me otherwise. Once we get 3 or 4 games in, I might be happy to come back to Chelsea and start getting stuck into them. But I just don't know how this strategy of holding dozens of top players can work. I've no idea what their best 11 is. I'd be interested to see how quickly Maresca establishes what he thinks his best 11 is, and then how he keeps the other 57 of them happy. Close to 200 million spent again in this window. Neto, Dewsbury Hall, Adebayo, a few of those who've arrived. And they don't seem to be done yet either. Still being linked with Osimhen and a few others I've been seeing mentioned as well. I was looking at the squad today and wondering how they're going to bring their squad down to 25. Got to name a 25-man squad, which includes 8 homegrown players. And I don't know how they do it without upsetting a few. And I had to last year. There was a few who didn't make the 25-man cut last year and had to sit it out. So I think they're going to end up having to leave some notable names out unless they do, make some transfers in the opposite direction. Anyway, it's no way to be going on, Malcolm. I'm not having it. I'm leaving Chelsea for a little while until I see how it all goes. In pre-season, they've looked a bit ropey, particularly at the back. I think City will capitalise on any weakness in that area if they continue to be all over the place defensively. I think City are a good price at 5 to 6 to win this one. I think last season I said whenever you get to City at close to evens, against most teams, it becomes a price where I'm happy to take it because they win so often. So I'm happy for City to win as my main pick at 5 to 6. But I did also like City's goals. I think City might get a few here against Chelsea. I'm not sure about them defensively. City to score 3 or more. It's 2 to 1. They put 4 past them in pre-season and a pre-season friendly. Fair enough. That's a free pre-season friendly. But remember the game at Stamford Bridge last year? It was a stupid 4-4, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So there's history for goals in this as well. So yeah, picks for me: City to beat Chelsea at 5 to 6, but I'm also going to take City to score 3 or more at 2 to 1.
Pedro Neto was another one. I don't know if you even mentioned him. There's that many of them. You just
I did
even
mention
forget.
Neto, yeah.
Did you? Yeah.
I don't know where he fits in either.
So this is another one, Baz, where I let the stats do the picking rather than me. No idea what Chelsea are going to do. No idea what the manager's going to do. 1 defeat in the last 15 league games. 2 draws in these games last year. The 4-4 at Chelsea, and they got a 1-1 at Manchester City. With Man City, I think you know what you're going to get. But the key for me is the record, Barry. Against the rest of the top 6, Man City played 10 games last year against the rest of the top 6. What was the record, Baz? Wins, draws, defeats?
They probably won 2.
Correct. They did win 2. And they
5
drew
draws.
6 and
6
lost
draws.
2. They beat Villa at home, and I can't remember who else they beat. Was it Arsenal, maybe? Yeah, 1-2 out of 10, 6 draws in there. So taking them at 4-5, 2 wins out of 10, that's going to send you to the poorhouse pretty quickly, Baz. 7 of those 10 went under 2.5 goals as well. Completely flies in the face of everything you want to pick today. Over 2.5 at 1-2 minus 200 is nuts, because it doesn't make any sense. The 13-8 for the overs is tempting, but I'm going to take the draw, Baz. 29-10 for the draw. Both games, like I say, drew last year, and City drew 6 out of 10 against the rest of the top 6. So a draw here, 29-10. What was your pick, Baz? I forgot to write it down.
City are going to win, and City are going to score 3 or more.
City at
Totally against
4-5. You're only having one pick. I'm writing one down.
totally
Right,
against
final
all of
pick.
your stats.
Monday night, 8 o'clock kickoff, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Leicester City taking on Tottenham Hotspur. Leicester City 4-1. The draw is Burlington Birdie 100-30. Tottenham are 3-5, minus 166. I fear a little bit for Leicester. They lost the manager who went to Chelsea. We just talked about. The squad looks dog shit. It looks really, really poor. And yeah, see, I've got the fear for them. Spurs get a nice little boost with the signing of Solanke. And they should be able to get amongst Leicester City here. We mentioned this, Mark, earlier on, Baz, because you've already dipped into it, but one of my favourite bets in the second half of last season, and the one that worked out well for us a lot, was a team to score in both halves. Tottenham just go for it from the start. I don't know how prepared Leicester will be to defend, but Tottenham to score in both halves is 6-5, plus 120, Baz. Love it.
Yeah, like you, I think Leicester are going to be struggling. Certainly as it stands, you look at the squad and it just doesn't look strong enough to make any kind of challenge in this division, I don't think. Dewsbury Hall, be a big loss for them. And I'm just struggling to see where the goals are coming from. They've already got 18 for them last year. He's not going to get those numbers in the Premier League this season. Another year older, no chance. And Dewsbury Hall got another 12 for them. He's gone. They've just gone and lost the last 3 pre-season games without scoring a goal, which doesn't bode well either. So I agree. I think it'll be a fairly straightforward one for Spurs. I think they've definitely strengthened. They've added goals to the team with Solanke, as you've mentioned. Archie Gray coming in as well. Where he fits in, I'm not sure. But I do think Spurs will have too much for Leicester here. The pick I like is on the handicap, first handicap pick of the season. But I've gone tentative. It's an Asian handicap, Malcolm. Spurs -1 on the Asian handicap is even money. It just seems an obvious one for me. So if they win by 2 or more, we're a winner. If Spurs win by 1 or don't win, win by 1, we're a push. Anything less, we're a loser. I think it's a good little safety blanket. But yeah, pick for me will be Spurs -1 on the Asian handicap at evens.
Okie doke. Well, we've done it, Baz. All 10 games in the book, but we've got to into the fancy section. We have got some new stuff going on. I forgot I was going to mention Scott Parker's bomber jacket. That's a great name for a fantasy team, by the way. If anyone wants that, you can have that on me. Scott Parker's bomber jacket. You know, I'm a big proponent of the bomber jacket, Baz. I've got a fine selection. I've got a lovely shiny bronze one that I wear on special occasions. But Scott Parker looked $1 million for Burnley the other night. We need to make him be sportsmanly size, he reckons. So,
whilst we're on the subject, Malcolm, because you've just mentioned fantasy football, I have restarted the Fantasy Premier League from last year. So anyone who played last year will be automatically entered if they've made a team in the Fantasy Premier League. If you haven't, if you didn't win in last year and you want in this time round, then the code is QG6YPL. That's QG6YPL. I've also put that out on Twitter tonight as well, so you can see it on there, and the direct link to join up. So if anyone else wants to join the fantasy football and see whether you can beat me and Mal, which wasn't that hard last year, then get involved.
Yeah, Bob's going to play for me because we play together anyway because he gets the hump after 6 weeks as well, but we'll see. NCH157's asking for some EFL picks. Probably not tonight, but if Twitter, YouTube, Baz might fire us from shorts at the weekend, so keep across. Cos Baz, we've got about 5 minutes here. If we go over an hour, we get bollocked. We've got loads of stuff to get to. Underdogs, ACCAs, scorers. I said we've got a couple of new things here. This is where Barry was absolutely no help, where I was trying to fire up some new sections for the show. But we'll start with the oldie Baz, underdog of the week. I'm going to take Bournemouth 15-8 plus 187 away at Nottingham Forest is my dog.
I've got Palace as my underdog, just around 2-1. Palace to beat Brentford.
Okay. Accumulators. We've decided to throw 2 out in different tiers. And I wanted names for them. You know, it's nice to name a section. So on the ground, we've talked quite a lot about pies the last couple of weeks. So what we're going to do is the tier 1 accumulator is going to be the corned beef pie accumulator. The sort of corned beef pie you get at a funeral. It's all right, isn't it? Like everyone enjoys a little bit of corned beef pie. It's a sort of bi-weekly treat. So your little accumulator that's 3 to 6 to 1 sort of thing. That's going to be your corned beef pie parlay. So my corned beef pie parlay, Barry, is Tottenham to score in both halves, Newcastle to score in both halves, and then West Ham and Villa, both teams to score in over 2 goals. And that pays just a little bit short of 6 to 1, Baz. 5.93 plus 593. Tottenham and Newcastle to score in both halves. West Ham Villa, BTTS in over 2 goals is my funeral corned beef pie pick. What have you got?
My corned beef pie parlay is both teams to score in the following 3 games. It's Forest v Bournemouth, West Ham v Villa, and Brentford v Palace. Both teams to score in those 3 comes in at around 3 to 1.
Nice. And then we're going to put out the fancy ACCA. What we need 2 of these to hit the season to get into profit. We're talking 16, 20 to 1. So in reverence to Barry's soul dining experience from a couple of weeks ago, this is going to be the steak and Stilton ACCA. This is the fancy one. By the way, Barry, if you win any of these, you need to bring a corned beef pie or a steak and Stilton pie to the show. They're the rules. My steak and Stilton pie, ACCA, is just a 2-game parlay. Fulham to win, Chelsea Man City to draw, pays 20 to 1, Baz. Bosh, in and out.
Ooh, nice. Steak and Stilton ACCA. I've got the same 3 games as I went for in the first ACCA, but I'm going for over 3.5 goals. I'm going for a big, high-scoring weekend. You've mentioned Villa West Ham as being full of goals. That's one of them. We've got Forest Bournemouth, West Ham Villa, and Brentford Palace, all over 3.5 goals, also at 20 to 1.
Okay, second last is the goal scorer pick. I do fancy Tottenham to get amongst it against Leicester on Monday night. I've left Solanke out because I don't know if he'll play or not. But Son's pretty reliable, isn't he? Son is 9 to 2, first and last scorer, and 11 to 8 at plus 137 to score any time. So yeah, I'll take Youngmin Son to get on the score sheet for Tottenham at Leicester on Monday, Baz.
Yeah, I mean, a bit of a boring one for me. It's Isak at 5 to 6. But another one I do like is tomorrow, because I was reading Bruno Fernandes potentially playing as the forward or a false 9 tomorrow. We mentioned him earlier for shots on goal and stuff. I know he'll be on set pieces. 21 to 10 for an anytime goal from Bruno Fernandes and 13 to 2 first goal scorer. So I've got Isak. I do like Isak, but I think at a fancier price, Bruno Fernandes is one I like tomorrow night as well.
Okay. The new feature, Barry, this is my new feature. We're calling this the slow roller. I'm going to take one pick every week at really shit odds, Baz, and I'm just going to roll everything up until we get to Christmas or something. I'm going to stick it all on every week at like minus 300, minus 400, something like that. And I've got 2 accounts I never use. I've got a Virgin Bet account and I've got a Live Score Bet account. I looked at them both today. They're both the same thing. They're exactly the same account, same graphics, same font. It's the same account, so that's a swindle. So, Virgin Bet, Barry, I've got £15.70 I deposited in there. And my first pick on my slow roller is going to be a Tottenham team total on Monday at 1 to 2, over 1.5 goals, £15.70 wins me £23.39, and I'll leave that alone and slow roll that up, Baz, all the way to Christmas. So yeah, that's the slow roller, Baz. And you're going to finish us off with a ladder.
I've got Baz's ladders. Baz's ladders or
Baz's ladders.
And we're better to start than a corners ladder. Everyone loves a corners ladder. I wanted to go Newcastle. That was my first instinct because we finished the season well with corners at the back end of the season. And we had 11 against Southampton last time we played them. But the prices are far too short. To get over even money, you need Newcastle to get 8 corners or something. Wasn't interested at those prices. So I've gone back to another team who's done well for me on the corners in the past. And it's Fulham. Fulham have hit some double figures for us on a couple of occasions last season. But the other reason is something we talked about a bit earlier. Man United give up loads of shots and they also give up loads of corners. We saw everyone was putting up 7, 8s and 9s against Man United in terms of corners last season. Their last 6 competitive games, they've given up at least 6 on every occasion. And Fulham played Man United twice last season. 9 corners at Old Trafford, 9 at home. So good form for Fulham against Man United for corners anyway, and Man United just generally giving away loads. 6 corners is the mark everybody gets against Man United. So you start off with Fulham to get 6 or more corners. 6 to 5, nice little plus money price. Over 6.5 Fulham corners, 9 to 4. Over 7.5 Fulham corners at 15 to 4. And then over 8.5 gets you to 13 to 2. We'll finish off with 9.5. Get them to double figures. Fulham over 9.5 corners, 12 to 1. That's our ladder for this week. Baz's ladders is back.
Baz's ladders is back. We need a theme tune for Baz's ladders. I know you're a busy man, Pat, but come on, pull your finger out. Plug your guitar in. Get us a jingle for Baz's ladders. Well, Baz, I fucking loved every minute of that. That was great. I enjoyed handicapping all the games. I enjoyed filling up an entire hour with picking stuff. So yeah, fantastic. No idea how we'll get on, but who cares? It doesn't matter. Quite happily least £200. It was loads of fun. Anything else you want to tell us, Baz, before we go?
No, I've got to find out who needed the car key and why they needed the car keys. I don't know what all that was about earlier. Apparently, that wasn't one of my children sending the message. It was one of the children's friends. So she must have went on to YouTube and searched my podcast so that they could get the car key. I'm assuming so we could drop the Ben off at home. I'm assuming that's what's gone on. But yeah, that was a little bit of a random one. 12-year-old girls should not be watching the Premier League gambling podcast.
I disagree, very. If you noticed, I had Betty out cleaning the roulette wheel yesterday while I was doing lunchtime roulette in Darlington. Was a weird one. Right. Thanks, everyone in the chat. That was a load of fun. Good luck with your picks. For any of our Indonesian listeners, selamat tinggal dan semoga sukses. And we will see you down the road. Cheers.